Good evening. Quick sound checks. That seems pretty good. Hopefully that will be okay. Nice. Alright, this can go over here. Very nice. Let's have a look at things. So, I have a problem with detecting whether you can make a move correctly or not. So, it's like I think all the logic for checking if we crashed or are stuck is not here, it's in the other direction. Oh no, we got calculate valid moves. Alright, so what if moves surrounding Oh, I know what's happening. It would help if I was to move the egg object. So surrounding count equals 0. Model.player.speed 0. I suppose the trick is what to do at different speeds, so I mean, that treats it as a crash, so it's just at the smaller. Um, hmm. So I think it basically doesn't cache it, or it caches and then doesn't try and actually reset. So okay. And that seems to fix the issue. Cool. Oh. Okay. Cool, that's better. Software production, low speeds. I guess in theory I could have GitHub auto build when I push changes, but not now. Hmm. I'm tired today. This might not be a long stream, but at least we're doing something. We'll see. So, what I want for the home page would be to have like those tracks, track 1 dat, and I guess you probably have a dialogue and then you'd want a message incoming and outgoing. So good evening. Something like that. Just experimenting with dialogue a little bit. So don't worry too much about it. That occurs to me. Track list needs to scroll. Just scroll bars generally. That'll be fun to figure out how to do. So, go down here, and well, actually, I need to bring it in from the track, don't I? So, and I need like okay, these are getting a bit stupid as well. So dialogue is probably like that. It's a list, but you need the custom objects that they belong to. Name, waypoint, start, path, editable, dialog. Index. Human index equals index, probably. Waypoints, start, like that. And then this can all be index map and title track like that. Points x.axial 0, 0 percent pref path track percent index dot dat. True dialog. Like that. And then we have this version where the index is -1. There's no path. There's no name. And I think everything else stayed the same there. And then this version, which should actually be, I don't think this version is even used, but it might be. So let's bring it all down. Map. Name is null. It's got waypoints. Index is -1. Dialog, editable, path is null. The start is that, the waypoint's the name, thing. Hopefully that just works. Nope. ah. 70. There we go. Okay. So now I can pass whatever I like in there. So next we want a dialog. There's dialog. In theory, I want to do something with the type of dialog, but for now there's only going to be the start type. We might have a victory text in the end, but I think we're okay for now. So if we come across dialog, then if cmd0 or cmd0 is equal to that, get rid of that. And then that's the rest of the line. Text is like that. Probably like that. You end up doing this sort of tuple-y thing quite a lot, and to be honest, I'd rather it had like a generic tuple sort of behavior, but I haven't really bothered to put that together yet. Because this sort of pattern comes up a lot. But it's like an immutable data type, so dialog. Ideally, I'd have like a from data type. So if cmd dialog like that. Else like so. Not so like extensions, I guess. Good to see you, Werewolf. Sorry. So the game went out, but I still have things in there that I wanted to get in there that were like part of the vision. So I'm sort of working on those bits now. I fixed a bug earlier on as well. I had to make some rapid changes of the later half of last week to fix a couple of things that weren't apparent if you were running the game on my machine, but occurred to other people. So I pushed out a couple changes there. So yeah, fun times. Had some engine bugs to deal with as well, with Dome not being quite set up right, so it was crashing on Windows. The trials and tribulations, eh? So what I'm doing at the moment is I wanted to be able to have the opening menu. The game starts, you see the phone interface, and then when you click on a track, it gives you like a text conversation with somebody. So I'm doing the data loading routines for that sort of data. and then I'll start doing rendering stuff for that next. So I have this dialog object down here, and you basically say if it's coming from or to. To say, well, really it's like incoming or outgoing. So that should be incoming. Outgoing. What I like with Ren is that you can name the constructors whatever you like, pretty much. Outgoing. No, way around. Yeah. Okay. So you can have very descriptive lines of code because you can name the constructor something meaningful, which is very nice. Outgoing. How have you been, anyway? Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's been a bit of a day, but not bad. I'm apparently more tired than I have any right to be, but that's how it goes. Just doing as we do. So now if I go over to the menu, I am. I promise you I am. It's just the way it is. I'm like perpetually tired. Don't know why. Been having trouble with my knee for the last few weeks from trying to run, so I arranged a physio appointment, which I'll be doing tomorrow. So hopefully that will help as well. Walking around trying not to limp is a bit of a unpleasant time, all things considered. Text follow. Yeah. It is the way it is. No problem. My UI framework sucks. Kind of, like it's smart, but it sucks. Dialog. So equals, what is it like? 30 plus 50 plus 21. Print line.text. Well, actually, function cursor equals cursor plus 10. Just to see what it looks like. What? Oh. Left plus 4 cursor color white for now. So you've got the top plus 80. $13.50. That's odd. So you've got the top to the 30 and then the 30 to the 50. So really, that's weird. I'd expect it to have been off of there by now. No, it is. It's just ignoring the first line, I guess. That's weird. Ah, there we go. Okay. Had it right the first time. So, this bit's going to get really complicated. because I basically need to generate text wrapping stuff, and I am not sure the best way to do that. If direction equals incoming, then, well, split on spaces like that for now. And then you basically need to go canvas.rectfill left plus 16 cursor. Hey, welcome back. So you need the cursor height, and then you need it to be whatever we're saying the width is here. Width over 3. I want 3/4 of the width of the thing. And I need it to be n height. And we'll come back to what that is in a moment. You wouldn't happen to know how to do like RPG style text wrapping for dialog boxes, would you? Something I have to figure out now that I've got the dialogue sort of showing up is how do I format it nicely to fit in a box? You probably need to be like, process the lines there. Yeah. It's a fixed width, at least at the moment it's a fixed width font. That might change in the future, but that's a whole other world of pain, so. I was going to break on spaces rather than doing it character by character, but yeah, this isn't something I do that often. So for token in text, because you have to do something with the thing. Yeah, that's basically where I'm heading, I think. That does feel like where I'm heading. Output -1. So what we need to do is be like, well, what you need to do is actually check the length of the character limit before you add the word to it. So width times, that's my pixel width, and I want to divide that by 8. Because 8 is the size of the characters. So if the output -1 dot count is less than the limit, and then output -1 is equal to output -1 plus token. Well, space plus token, strictly speaking. But there's probably some finicky stuff here about overshooting it, because you could be like just underneath. So it's actually plus the token dot count plus 1, like that. otherwise output.add like that. And really, this should be inverted to be like, if it's greater than or equal to that limit, then we add a new line. And then we can always add the next token to the last thing in that array, I think. And then my box height is basically the output.count multiplied by 8 plus 8, because I like a padding, basically. And then I'd be interested if you had any observations about the way that I code and any differences. Because you're right, the way that we code when we're on a deadline or panicking versus when we're just sort of casually doing it is very different depending on all sorts of factors. Line in output, and I'm basically just doing this. Like that. Oh, I've already used the line variable. That's a real pain. Whatever. I probably should come up with a whole bunch of better terminology for this, but text line. Let's say yeah, that is actually something that I'm holding on to probably a lot more than most would. I mean, it's awful. It's terrible code style because, like, this is an obvious red flag in any standard corporate stuff because you'd want it to be an actual variable somewhere, wouldn't you? This is horrific magic numbers style, which is not how I normally code. When I'm at work, this isn't what I normally do. But because I'm operating in a very fixed pixel size, and I know what the pixel size for everything is, it's, yeah, I mean, for the most part, I know what the things are for this project anyway. And you sort of start recognizing the pattern as well. So I know that this is the top chunk of the display because it's the black bar and the orange bar, and then some padding. So yeah, that's a bizarre thing, isn't it? Exactly, yeah. I mean, if this was a project that someone else was coding on, I'd probably also do it differently because it's a solo coding thing, and I'm not so much worried about that. And it's the sort of project that I'm not likely to go back and clean up either, unless I have to. For better or for worse. Right, so my worry here was getting the cursor in the right spot. So cursor equals the cursor, and I want it to move forward to set the padding up. And then we're basically going to go fixed line by line. And that actually would set us up perfectly for the next block of text. I actually haven't seen enough Stargate to get this reference, I'm sorry. I watched it when I was very young. Like 1 or 2 episodes at best. I feel like we could probably get away with pulling this back out from here and saying message box left equals 0. And then if it's outgoing, I see. Fair enough. It is that kind of thing. It's like, why don't... Actually, this is actually a thing. I very rarely comment code that is... This is going to sound awful. There's a very specific set of reasons I will comment code. Otherwise, I won't bother. Because otherwise, you'll spend too much time updating the comments to that code rather than actually working on the code. So it's only when I'm doing something really tricky that I'll usually leave a comment to be like, this is important because of this reason. Stuff that is unlikely to change just because you changed a little bit of the code, but is not obvious on a viewing, I guess, is the idea. So message box left is actually going to be equal to the width divided by 4 because you shift it over a quarter and then it's on the other side. And you could have done this by thirds or anything, but I wanted it to be a quarter, 3 quarters, so that's basically good enough. Yeah, and well, even documentation is a bit of a... You have to document the... Okay, so the trick here is to recognize that it's all documentation for different audiences. So you have to document the right thing in the right way for the right audience. So I document the engine for the developer who's going to use the engine to do stuff. And I document the code for the developer who's going to be modifying the code. And that's sort of the philosophy that I follow. That actually should be the left. That. Yeah. Well, it comes with practice and discipline, and I'm 5 or 6 years into my career and I'm still not great at this, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just try to do your best with that sort of stuff. I think that's okay. Yeah. It's probably broken. We'll run it and see what happens. I forgot to move the text over. Interesting. It looks like it line wrapped though. That could have been a lot worse. Yeah, because now you see I need to add the message box left plus that over here. So this one probably should be left alone. That looks all right. Let me do 2 things. So let me go for message box left. And what we'll do is we'll add 4 here just to shunt it slightly off to the side and then pad that there. And then we'll just put a bit more padding underneath the box afterwards. That didn't actually do that much. And it's going to clip off the end there. Interesting. Interesting. Left. Just double check my brain maths. Yeah, so you can't really shunt this off too much extra because it'll hit the side. That moves it down a whole line and then there. The cursor gets calculated up there, so it's not being redone. It just gets incremented. That should probably then be 8, I guess. Just to overcome the full distance. There's probably some sort of padding equals 4 and then padding equals padding multiplied by -1 type thing going on, where I can basically be like, here's padding, because then you can shunt it either way. Because that's better. Sort of homing in on it, so padding. I might be wrong, but no, that looks all right. Okay, let's add some extra lines of text in here and see what happens. See there. See ya. I like that. Oh, I'm so good. Thank you so much for your help on that. That was that's a thing. Wow. Okay, I'm going to be really smug for about 4 minutes and then we'll move on. Because, I mean, I'd have liked it if this was a little bit longer off the end, but it could be worse, so... Not sure. I mean, it's a bit... Like, really, if I want to be pedantic, we should be, like, figuring out the maximum length so that this ends up on the far side and things get right aligned. So let's just go for broke and see if we can get that to work. I used to have, I know that one of my projects has got a right align print, but I cannot be bothered to go find it. And then it would be left plus width minus len multiplied by 8. Like that, I guess. give or take some padding. Because then it'll get right aligned because you basically shunt it all the way to one side and bring it backwards. I imagine it like a typewriter. Rather than drawing from the fixed middle point to the side and getting whatever length you get. Although, that will annoy people because then the left-hand side won't be correctly aligned, which might look a bit odd. See if I'm overthinking that. Don't know. Oh, yeah, you only need to do that half the time. Okay. Width minus. Oh, there's not a smooth way of doing that, is there? Because you basically have to do it per text, so. Text left equals. That. I mean, actually that bit doesn't change, so we'll just bring that back over. And that bit is the text left. Okay, that's all right. So then we just need the rec fill. So if output.count is equal to 1. Oh, probably I'm not great at polishing stuff generally, so this is a big exercise in trying to polish things much more overall. From a visual perspective, it's just I want it to at least have the content in there, I suppose. Like, the problem is that when people say, what more polish do you want? Like, I don't know what to do to make it more polished in some ways. Like, you could do all kinds of things. So I'm at least trying to get it to match the sort of vision in my head, fit functionality-wise, and then I can go in to make it pretty. I suppose I could put some screen shake in. That'll make people happy. Yeah, that's basically what I'm going for. Good point. So I'm just figuring out the order of operations for that because I have to figure that out before everything else. So that would be here is equal to m dot the maximum of max width and output minus 1 dot count. So that gets the maximum number of characters on a line. And then we can basically go with this being max width by by 8. It's going to break something. Yeah, there we go. Why is it negative? What? That's interesting. Because for some reason that wouldn't get updated. Yeah, so it's having problems with this line. So it somehow ends up at -4. Stupid fly. Which should be pretty much impossible. Yeah, for some reason that width is -4. What? Oh, I think I know why. It's because there'll always be one of these, but well, there could be one of these at the end where it's just empty. So then you'd need to do output equals output dot where line dot count. There's not a nice way of dealing with that. Although that doesn't make sense. Let me print this out and see what happens, just to be sure. Oh, I see. So it never actually finishes because the line is too short to trigger that clause. Okay. So this bit never happens now. So I guess we just always do it, which is less efficient, but at least you guarantee that you get that calculation done. Okay. System.print, I don't need those anymore. Minus, that minus the max width by 8 plus 8. So that should bring the box with it. Close. It's a little off, but it's probably the 8 extra. That's close. Close. Okay. I'll come back to that. That's a whole other problem. Interesting. So we have this box. It's some amount wide plus the padding around it. The padding is only 4 here, because we also add that padding. Well, that padding should be added twice, surely, to start with, because then you add it once for the actual text. But then we have that. So then we subtract it because, oh, you can't, yeah, so more accurately, that has to be absolute. And that's basically where we want it. We just need to modify one more thing, I think. Which is two times the padding. But then the text doesn't go with it. I mean, it is probably, I mean, there's two kinds of padding here as well going on, so we can probably get away with doing that twice and then just calling it done for now. No, it only needs to be once, but Because I guess if that's 1 and that's 1, no, that has to be 2, but that could be 1. This sort of stuff ends up being very experimental. And so what's happening here is that it's just not over far enough. Let me change how this works. So that is left. And then I don't need to actually use that anymore. And I can do left plus that. And I can basically say that we start with the message box left plus the padding at all times, which is probably more sensible. Because then the padding is never actually going to have to be negative. And yeah, I think we are. So let me just run through this in my brain again. So it's either going to be at its start position, in which case you just need to I'm always adding that padding, so that can just go there. Well, maybe not. We'll leave it there for now. Goes to the point, and then it goes 1 over for the in display padding, and then it's the length of the text plus 2 lengths of that padding, so that the text has somewhere to be padded for. But then this one has to be 2 times over, and I think that does it. Oh, so close. It's because that padding is actually 2 kinds of padding. Text padding. And text padding needs to be the thing that goes negative. Oh, you mean 80% of the work, 20% of the work type thing? Yeah, pretty much. You always get this kind of stuff though, so. And because I don't do this stuff particularly rigorously, so it does end up being trial and error to some degree. And to be honest, I kind of enjoy it that way. So, yeah. So, the left position here does need to accommodate for the text padding going on. 2 times the text padding. Like that. Rather than the... oh no, it does need to account for both. Because it subtracts 1 text padding for 1/2, then the full width of the text, then the other text padding, but then it needs the phone padding as well. Plus padding generally. I'm just going to bring this up because I think I'm going to make this meta. So message box width equals an amount, which is this bit here. Message box width, because then I can basically yank all of that bit and go message box width, like that. And then this should all be consistent. Because then we're saying that my left bit happens, and the padding, and then the text padding, and then all the text should probably end up in the right place. I bet I'm like five pixels off or something. No, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. It's just not quite there. So, what's causing that? Oh, it's actually that isn't part of the box. It's let me take this out of here and out of here because they're now causing us problems. Like that. Oh. Good evening. I spotted someone else. Hey, that's closer. We're like right on the cusp of it. This one actually doesn't get used anymore, which is sort of nice. This never needs to be flipped. That doesn't have to be absed because of that, I guess. Oh no, it does, it does, it does. Or does it? Right, so it's basically adding on or subtracting that padding from there. So what if I take that out of the equation for the moment and just see what happens? Then it basically lops off the stuff on the end on both sides. Why can't I? There we go. Very occasionally, things go wrong with the mouse interpretation. What's up with that? There we go. That looks correct, doesn't it? How does that look? Oh, I got a new follower. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh. So, like, if I wanted this to be like completely perfect, you'd like animate the conversation, one side, then the other, then back again, then back again. But and there's probably a few more visual flourishes I'd want to do around displaying and talking about the location. But that's a start. Let me just do one more thing. Like that. And then we'll make that double for funsies. Definitely getting to that point in the stream where I'm going to have to probably stop anyway, but I can't tell if that's my mouse that's the problem. Right, so that just broke everything. No problem. And it's because it does the V padding times 2. No, that's not right. So what's happening there? Okay, so you do the text box at the padding point. The height is probably wrong here, so that should be V padding times 2 as well. And then from the cursor's height, you add half the padding, you print a bunch of stuff, you add half the padding, you add the next half of padding. That might work. There we go. That's looking good. All right, I'm going to probably stop here today. Slight schedule change for this week is that I will probably stream tomorrow evening. And I'm not sure I'll be doing a stream next week. But then I'll be back again in November, hopefully. We'll see. It's going to be a bit ad hoc for next week. So, yeah. Do I want to do anything else real quick? There is this thing, which is kind of sad. So let me just see if I can... I'd like to leave the game runnable. So if track.dialog count is greater than 1. Oh well, if it's less than or equal to 1, then just return for now. Because if there's no dialogue at all, then it will just crash. So now that's fine. That's fine. Looking good. Cool. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I dealt with this one. Yeah, have a good evening. Hope you have a good time. See you probably tomorrow. It's no problem. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not quite sure why people would watch me code, but it's a fun time.